Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Creaky Weekly. I'm the Creaky Blinder, so what have we missed this week? McFlatty thinks Plan a Walk is Wolfie's 60/20 son because New Zealanders and Australians possibly sort of sound similar, or at least they do to a flatard.
This is McFlatty here, Australian kid. Probably Wolfie 60/20's son is my guess.
D Marble talks smelly toilets.
Man's getting a lecture from this individual in this lab coat with his certifications and all that, writing on this board, telling your friend, that is, convincing them that it actually smelled good in that public bathroom.
The Flat Earth community arranged their first cruise.
Flat Earthers announce fun-filled ocean cruise.
And I've got a question for all the flatards watching. Explain last night's blood wolf moon lunar eclipse using the flat earth model. But first, let's go to our new flatard weather reporter, Ollie Williams. Ollie, how's the weather today in Flatardia?
It's raining sideways!
Thanks, Ollie. Now on with the show. So yeah, I've stumbled across this channel, McFlatty. I don't really know what to make of it, to be honest. It's a tiny channel, he's only got 11 subscribers. There's nothing wrong with that, obviously we all start somewhere. But it just seems completely pointless. He's got a video of him skiing down a tiny hill, which somehow he thinks proves flat earth, but I just find it all a bit confusing. But anyway, the reason I bring him up is because in typical flatard dumbass style, because Plan a Walk is from New Zealand and the New Zealand accent is sort of similar to an Australian accent. I know a lot of people confuse them, but that has now led him to deduce that Plan a Walk is Wolfie's 60/20 son. So let's have a look at a couple of his videos.
This is Mount Normandale to prove the flat earth. We can see the horizon over there. I'm at the top and the horizon is at eye level. This is easy stuff. I'm gonna go down and you'll see at the bottom it's also at eye level.
But the one thing he doesn't mention is that his viewing angle is very different from the top of the mountain to the bottom of the mountain. Flatards always seem to get this horizon rising to eye level confused. What they should say is sometimes it can appear to rise or drop, but that's based on your viewing angle and what's sort of in the foreground and the background. I'll link Critical Think's video in the description because he explains it perfectly. So here is McFlatty's channel. Like I say, it is small. Seems like a fairly new channel. I think it was December it was started when I looked. But he's got some wonderful titles on here. Plan a Walk is Wolfie 60/20 son. Top of mountain proves flat earth. Day 2 of the missing moon. China couldn't land on the moon. This guy thinks that China stole the moon. Yeah, have a look at it for yourself. I'm going to link it below because it just all seems really bizarre to me. And talking about bizarre, why is D Marble talking about smelly public toilets?
Go to the bathroom. Public restroom, of course. Now, there are people in and out of there, and you've been in a public bathroom yourself, and you've experienced this, and what you know, as soon as you walk into the bathroom, is that it stinks.
Basically, he's trying to use the comparison that if somebody you respected, somebody you knew was educated, i.e. a scientist, for example, was to try and convince you that the public toilet you've just been into didn't stink, then you would more than likely believe him based on his standing, his years of training, his education, his professional qualifications. That then translates into that's why we believe the earth is a globe and that it isn't flat, because people like the toilet scientist tell us that it's a globe. Is that as confusing as I just made it sound? Let's have a look.
Where we are right now in this society is basically the same position. We trust our senses to interpret our reality. But these folks are telling us that the earth is a spinning ball. Now, this comes down to two things. This whole flat versus globe discussion, and all things outside of this are subjective. Okay? It's just minor details, this or that. Is there any measurable curvature? Is there any detectable motion?
Yes, there is measurable curvature. Yes, there is detectable motion. The fact that you flat earthers choose to call bullshit on it doesn't make it not true. We've known for thousands of years that the earth is a globe. There are literally thousands upon thousands of images taken from satellites, taken from the moon, taken from space, from the ISS, showing that the earth is a globe. But you choose to ignore all the evidence presented to you, or just simply call it fake. But that does not mean that it is.
Flat Earthers announce fun-filled ocean cruise. Pack your bags because a few good Flat Earthers have announced a flat-out massive cruise for 2020.
Interesting. A flat-out cruise. Who's paying for that then? And they call us shills.
According to The Guardian, the Flat Earth International Conference is billing it as their biggest, boldest, best adventure yet. Those lucky enough to take part in the trip of a lifetime will get to indulge themselves at typical cruise ship restaurants, catch rays shining down on flat Earth by the pool, and maybe catch some artificial surf waves.
They do realise that the G in GPS stands for globe, don't they? And that's what ships use to navigate their way around the globe. Seems like a bit of contradiction there to me, guys, but you know, what do I know? And GPS actually uses satellites. Yet another contradiction. I'm saying nothing. Okay, and finally on this week's episode of Creaky Weekly, last night, as we all know, there was a super wolf blood moon lunar eclipse, to give it its full name. And this picture here was taken by a friend of mine, so I know it's real because he's not a lying dick. And I thought I'd pop a video in just here at the end of Creaky Weekly. Strangely enough, a video from NASA, so that we all know it's reliable, apart from if you're a flat out, of course, in which case you can just call bullshit like you do on everything else. But for everyone else who's watching, enjoy.
If you looked at the moon over the course of a few weeks, you'd probably notice that it looks slightly different every day. The change in its shadow is based on where the moon is in its orbit. We call this cycle the phases of the moon, and it occurs roughly once a month. At least twice a year, however, something quite different happens. The moon passes through the shadow cast by the Earth, causing it to look extremely unusual for a short period of time. From the Earth, the moon will appear to darken and turn a deep red before eventually returning to normal. This is called a lunar eclipse. If we were to look at what happens from space during an eclipse, it would go something like this. First, the moon passes through what's called the penumbra, where the sun's light is only partially obscured. This results in only a slight darkening of the moon. As the moon continues along its path, however, it enters what's called the umbra, where all direct light from the sun is blocked. But if the sun is blocked, why does the moon turn red? When light from the sun goes by the side of the Earth, it passes through a long and thick layer of Earth's atmosphere. Shorter wavelengths of sunlight, like blue, are scattered by the atmosphere, so by the time the light has finished its trip to the moon, more of the longer wavelengths, like red, are left over. On the Earth, the same thing happens at sunset as the ground you stand on gradually passes into night. As the eclipse ends, the moon leaves the umbra, returns to its normal color, and then leaves the penumbra, brightening and resuming its original cycle. Overall, the whole process lasts only from a few minutes to a few hours, so you'll have to be quick if you want to see it. But, as long as you're willing to stay awake, you'll catch the moon as you won't see it too often.
There we go. Yeah, thanks for making it to the end of the video, guys. If it's your first time here, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and hit the subscribe and bell notification buttons. And flat ads, as I said earlier in the video, demonstrate this on a flat earth. I dare you. You won't be able to, because it just simply does not work on a flat earth. And you know why? Because the earth isn't flat. Until next time, I've been the Creaky Blinder, and oh yeah, playlists, don't forget to give them a watch if it's your first time here, and I will see you all on Friday for another episode of Flat Art Friday. Take care, guys. Bye.